When you enter or edit transactions in INTACCT that have an inventory effect, we calculate the costs based on the creation or modified date. If your organization enters transactions out of date order, this may cause issues with your costs. With this new feature, we recalculate your costs based on transaction date, which can also help if you need to backdate a transaction that you missed or delete or edit a transaction in the past. The Recalculate Costs feature has two modes, Analyze and Update. Use Analyze first to figure out what will change, then run the update after you've made any necessary fixes. You can also set the date from which to begin the analysis and the date for the update separately. You can choose to recalculate for one or more items and by warehouse. Recalculate Costs currently supports average cost only and is restricted to admins. Here, we're showing an example of the analysis of the inventory valuation report data. In the State column, notice that the tool also indicates if the quantity on hand was negative and on what date. We recommend you make recalculating your costs part of your regular business process, most commonly right before monthly close, to ensure your cost data is up to date. First, run the analysis and review your data for any issues. Then, correct past costs by adding, deleting, or changing past transactions. Finally, run the update. You'll find Recalculate Inventory Costs in the Inventory Control menu under Activities. We recommend doing the analysis first, even if you know you want to update your costs. That way, you can figure out if you need to make any adjustments to your data and do a sanity check to make sure the changes are the ones you want to make. Once you update the data, there's no way to reverse the process. You have three options about which areas of your inventory you want to affect. The valuation report with an as-of date, which is based on cached data that's stored every time a transaction is entered that affects the cost of an item. The current item cost, which will recalculate and use the new average cost from today's date forward, not affecting historical transactions. This will also affect the valuation report when you run it without an as-of date. And the costs posted on your transactions to the GL. This will affect any transaction that has costs posted, including COGS. If you run into any cost issues that you need more detail about, check Show Affecting Transactions. The resulting report will show all the transactions that contributed to that cost to help you resolve any issues. The Recalculate From date is where we start calculating the costs. We'll include any transactions from that date forward that affect the cost of the item. You can set the Recalculate and the Update dates separately or to the same date. Once we've finished recalculating, you can review the resulting spreadsheets and decide if there are any adjustments you need to make before you run the update. If you get errors where your quantity on hand has gone negative, you may want to add or backdate some transactions so that there is quantity on hand for any sales or other outgoing transactions, like transfer out. If there's no quantity on hand, INTACCT isn't sure what cost to use for those items, so you'll need to fix it. We highly recommend that you check the Turn Off Negative Inventory box in the Inventory Configuration page to prevent these errors in the future. If you see an unexpected result in the reports, you may want to see what transactions contributed to that cost. Turn on the checkbox for Verbose mode and run the tool again. You may want to restrict that report to just the items you see the issue in, and then you can review the transactions and make whatever changes are needed. Sometimes an issue with the cost is caused by an improper configuration in your inventory transactions. If you need help resolving that, please ask for help either from your partner or from INTACCT. We're happy to help out. Once you've resolved any outstanding issues, go ahead and run the update. If there's been a lot of activity in your company since you ran the first analysis, you may want to run it again and do a quick check before you run the update. Remember, there's no way to reverse this update, so make sure to review the data first. We recommend that you always run the valuation update and the COGS update together and for the same dates. Otherwise, your GL and valuation reports won't match for that time period. Note that only transactions that affect inventory, quantity and value, or value alone, will be included in this analysis and update. If you've made any journal entries to adjust your inventory asset account or make any other changes to your inventory, you may need to reverse or edit them after this update to make sure your inventory valuation and GL balance match. Once the update is run, you should be good to go. Run the analysis on a periodic basis to make sure that no new issues have cropped up, and enjoy your new confidence in INTACCT inventory costing.